Hi, welcome. Simon here. In this video, I'll be replacing LCD screen on an iPad 9th generation. Let's take a look at the model here at the back of the iPad. It says model A2602. So you can see that the LCD screen has pixel lines coming across from the left column, top to bottom, because there was an impact right here. It dropped on the ground. It did not crack the glass, but the LCD screen had a big vibration or an impact point where the pixelated running across the vertical line. So I'll be replacing with the screen, and here's the replacement screen for the LCD. That is the screen for the LCD replacement. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'll do is make sure I have my safety goggle. You have to protect your eyes at all time when you're dealing with glass or the iPad. Okay, now here I just want to point it out to you. I will be reusing the Digitizer, which is the glass here, the very first glass. Because there's no crack on the glass, I'll be reusing the Digitizer. Also, I'll be reusing the original home button. So we'll save this and the glass. The only thing I'll be changing is the LCD. Let's go ahead and turn off the iPad. I'll be using the heat gun. I just want to explain here, you can see that I'm heating up the iPad on one side of the screen. I'm just going around back and forth. I do not stay in one position like that because the heat gun generates a lot of heat. If you stay in one position like such, you may burn out the LCD screen. So always move it around. And you don't have to heat up the entire iPad by moving the entire screen. The reason because when you're working on one side of the screen, that side that you just heat up, it gets cold. You see, when it gets cold, the adhesive would harden and it stick itself back together. So the goal here is to soften the adhesive, therefore we can remove the glass, right? So to soften the adhesive, I'm using the heat gun to achieve that the heat to soften the adhesive. Now, if you do not have a heat gun, what you can do is you can get a hair dryer. The hair dryer is the same thing, that it generates heat that helps to heat up the glass, but you may not get a faster result. Okay, because the hair dryer, they don't tend to give out a lot of heat comparing to the heat gun. Okay. Here I have the metal prying tool. I'm using the metal prying tool to help cut off the adhesive and separate the adhesive away from the glass. You can always come back and reheat again if you feel like the adhesive gets hardened. And as you can see that the metal prying tool, I do not stick it all the way in. You just need to have enough to separate the adhesive. Try not to stick it all the way in because you do not want to damage the internal part of the iPad. If you're not sure where to buy the replacement screen, the tools for the repair, please check the link down description below. I'll link it to either Amazon or eBay, where you can find that replacement parts, the tools for this repair. I'll direct you to either Amazon or eBay, where most of you guys can easily access to the e-commerce site. So at this point, I have my finger in between the glass because I was able to make an opening here on the front. So once I have my finger right in the middle, in the center of the glass, what I can do is I'm trying to put a little bit pressure as I'm heating up the side of the screen. I can use my finger to separate the digitizer. At this part, at the bottom side of the iPad, you want to pay a closer attention to it. The reason because you have the Wi-Fi antenna at the bottom here, as well as the home button flex cable that runs across the glass underneath. So you want to pay a close attention. Try not to get the metal prying tool to accidentally cut the wire or the flex cable, and if it happens, then you will have to replace the part. So be very careful at this part here. I'll show it to you when I get to that position. So you know what I'm doing right now? I'm just going to heat up the bottom part of the iPad here. I'm going back to the side because I do not want to put a lot of heat on the bottom part. I do not want to have anything that get burned out. At the same time, I want it to be warm enough for the adhesive to give out and start melting away so that I can pull the glass away. So you just have to you know, play with the heat and separate the glass at the same time. So my left hand is putting pressure to separating the glass. As you can see, the glass is separating by itself gently, little by little. At the same time here, I am trying not to heat up too hot. So play with the heat as you're moving it across the iPad screen here. Alright, now I have the screen open up to the right side of it. Okay, And we'll be saving that. Now the next step I'd like to have is something that holding on the screen here on the right side, because I'll be reusing that same glass, the digitizer. So this little piece right here is supposed to be right on this. Now for my case, I'll try to reuse the same adhesive as well, because this adhesive here is much stickier compared to a third-party like this red adhesive double-sided tape. So if I have the original still and I feel like it is still sticky, I'll be using the original rather than remove that and replace with the third-party ones. What I'm focused on is just to change out the LCD screen. I'm peeling back to expose that screw. There's a hidden screw right underneath there. You may have a choice whether to keep the adhesive or replace it, but if you have the entire screen being cracked, then more likely you need to replace the original adhesive. But for my case, it looks like just only the LCD that is broken, so therefore I like to keep the original. Okay, so even different situation has a different reason for keeping or not keeping it. Okay, the next step I'll be using is the Phillips screwdriver. This Phillips screw here to remove the screw on the top right corner as well as the top left here. There are 4 screws, 2 on the top, 2 at the bottom. Now at the same time, you want to save this little piece right here, because that extra piece would help to prevent the iPad from acting weird. Example like ghost touch, meaning that if you don't touch the digitizer, it feels like something is touching on the screen. So that sometimes helps to prevent the sensor coming from the digitizer here. I'll show it to you in a second. You know, the digitizer here on the right side, you see that little copper looking thing. That thing sometimes has the sensor, and the sensor would trigger itself if it touches any of this metal here. So that little piece right here helps to prevent any electric conducting the copper digitizer stuff. All right, next step is to lift up the LCD screen. So for my case, my LCD is already broken, so I'm not going to be gentle with it. I would just kind of lift it up and towards myself, right? But if the LCD screen is good and you're saving it, you might want to be very gentle and cut off the glue. So there is a glue or some kind of gel that is taping down the corner on both sides, here and here. Okay, you might want to cut it if you have the glue on it. Okay, let me move the heat gun here on the side. I'll be using the Phillips screwdriver. Remove the 3 screws here. Remove the bracket and get a plastic prying tool stick it underneath on this cable, and there goes the broken LCD screen. Alright, so the next step is to get the replacement screen that is here. Let me stick it right in. Now some of you may say like, hey, you did not disconnect the battery. It is not recommended to do a repair without disconnecting the battery. I absolutely agree with you. Whatever that statement you said, I really understand that and I agree, but it is, in my opinion, you can well, I turn off the iPad first of all. I know that the battery is still connected, which may draw the power to the screen or may damage the motherboard. It's a risk that you have to take whether you want to disconnect the battery or not. I did not do it in this video. But if you want to disconnect the battery, which I recommend you to do, you should remove that screw there and then stick one of those plastic in between that to separate the connector between the battery and the motherboard. Sometimes by doing that, you may end up damaging the motherboard. I have seen it, and even myself, I've done it in the past, that I do more harm to the iPad than the good. So it is, for me, I just do not disconnect the battery. Just my personal preference. Alright, so I'll be putting the screw back in. Very straightforward. Cover that up. Okay, so the next step is to put that little sticky thing there, back there, to cover up the sensor that may trigger the iPad to act weird, what we call the ghost touch. Just trying to fix this sensor. What I'm going to do is to turn on the iPad. I just want to make sure that the LCD screen works and there's no bad stuff going on. Alright, looks like the Digitizer works as well. And as you can see that the screen has no pixelated lines on the left column. I can press the home button and the home button reacts to the touch. So everything looks good. So what I need to do next is to make sure that there's no dust here on the screen. And if it does, you can use like a scotch tape or anything to kind of like remove the fingerprint on the oils and whatnot. So the next step I need to do is to get the heat gun, heat up the side of the screen, melt the adhesive and let the adhesive to glue them back together on this original glass. That's pretty much all I have, and thanks for watching. And again, if you find this video is helpful, please click on the like button, and if you like to support my channel, please click on YouTube super thanks. Okay, thanks for watching. Do not forget to check out the link down description below where I have the replacement screen as well as the tools for the repair. Bye now.